What is up, YouTube world? Welcome back for part 3 of McMahon's Last Stand. I'm AmKay, and you're watching Purple Sky 11. If you're new to the channel, please be aware this video is part of a series, and each episode builds on information discussed in previous videos. A link to all videos in the series so far can be found in the description box below. I just want to take a minute to let you know I am not a legal expert or an expert of anything, really. I'm just a girl who loves to research stuff, and I also happen to be a huge wrestling fan. Also keep in mind that all of this, these accusations, the articles, the lawsuit, at this time these are only allegations pending the outcome of litigation. So please don't take anything I say seriously, and as always, do your own research. Also, please be advised, the following content will contain descriptions of sexual assault. This content may be disturbing to some people. Watch with caution. Due to the content, this video will probably not be eligible for monetization. If you'd like to support the channel, you can send $1 my way at the Cash App link in the description box below. So next up we have part B under the factual allegations of Ms. Grant's history with McMahon, Laurinaitis, and WWE. And this part is titled, McMahon arranges for Ms. Grant to be hired by WWE while beginning to groom her for sexual exploitation. Is it just me, or is this thing reading like a movie script or something? Number 59, on March 31st, 2019, the day before Ms. Grant was scheduled to meet with WWE Corporate Officer Number 2, McMahon unexpectedly invited Ms. Grant to come back to his condo for pointers for her meeting with WWE Corporate Officer Number 2. And she went! It says when she arrived. McMahon gave a huge embrace and suggested they sit on the couch. Thank you, Harvey Weinstein, because we know all about these couches, don't we? It quickly became clear that McMahon had no intention of giving her pointers for an interview except for a single direction, which was, if the topic comes up during her meeting, Ms. Grant could state they, quote, met through a mutual friend, end quote. But that was true, wasn't it? Wasn't that the truth? Because they met through the building manager, wasn't that a mutual friend? According to Ms. Grant in this lawsuit, the building manager was her closest friend in the building. So why would that be him directing her to say something? I mean, it was the truth, right? So wouldn't that be the answer that she would give anyway, regardless of being directed to say it? Or even if she says they met through her building manager, why would that be a scandalous issue anyway? And not only that, but like I said before, how many red flags do you need? Now we're getting more detail. And this is the second time now that she went to his condo to meet with him. The first time ended with a weird hug, and she went back. Anyway. So she's back at the condo, and they're sitting on the couch. Number 60. During this meeting, McMahon described a surgery he had on his knee by touching Ms. Grant's leg and drawing a line where the surgery had taken place with his finger. He stated that, similar to rehabbing an injury, Ms. Grant cannot let scar tissue build up inside her from trauma, as her vulnerability is a gift. Oh my God, somebody give me a bucket! Number 61, McMahon explained that people are intimidated around him and are afraid to touch him. Ooh, I wouldn't want to touch him either. McMahon added that he is an affectionate person who likes to hug and starves for physical affection. McMahon then led Ms. Grant on a tour of his condo. Oh my God, before hugging her goodbye, again whispering, feels so good. Number 62. On April 1st, 2019, so that's the next day after this meeting she had in his condo. On April 1st, Ms. Grant met with WWE Corporate Officer Number 2 at WWE headquarters for a short time. And I think, is this the first time now that she's going to the WWE corporate office? Interesting date, isn't it? And this corporate officer Number 2 that she met with is the one that McMahon referred to as a trusted official. The one he invited Ms. Grant to his condo so he could give her pointers for her meeting with him or her. And this says that during this meeting, WWE corporate officer Number 2 hardly asked any questions, saying that WWE Corporate Officer number 2 was figuring out where Ms. Grant would be placed and then promised to be in touch again after WrestleMania. Number 63. Later that day, Ms. Grant texted McMahon and enthusiastically described her meeting with WWE Corporate Officer number 2. See, was that necessary? I guess, well, maybe a thank you was appropriate. I don't know. It says she also commented on a dinosaur skull that she saw on McMahon's office wall. And we all know what that is, right? We all know that famous image of McMahon behind his desk with the T-Rex on the wall behind him. And this little detail here makes me wonder, does this mean she met with corporate officer number 2 in McMahon's office? And if she did, number 2 must be somebody important and trusted. And her mentioning this dinosaur skull prompted his response. And this is written out in classic text message spelling. Quote, BTW, by the way, if you're a bad girl, the T-Rex will eat you. End quote. My God. Followed by, quote, seriously, Janelle, wherever you land in WWE, you will be a credit to the organization, end quote. Number 64, on April 7th, 2019, so that's 6 days later, after her meeting with corporate officer number 2, Ms. Grant and resident manager were provided a VIP experience at WrestleMania, including private transportation in a black SUV arranged by McMahon. Sweet! Per McMahon's instructions, Ms. Grant diligently took notes about her impressions from WrestleMania, her first time attending such an event. Ms. Grant left overwhelmed with emotion and feeling hopeful that everything McMahon promised was becoming a reality. Okay, I understand that hopefulness, and I bet it was overwhelming. All of that, all of a sudden, she was hoping to get a job. It would have been a sweet job. And she's being thrust into this hyper-surrealistic world of celebrity with stars in her eyes. And it seems like at this point she was willing to put up with some slightly uncomfortable to moderately uncomfortable things in order to reach that possibility. I'm trying to put myself in her shoes, and I'm asking myself, what would I be willing to put up with for this opportunity? I don't know. I definitely wouldn't have let it go as far as it got with Ms. Grant, that's for sure. Number 65. Over the next several weeks, McMahon invited Ms. Grant to his condo on several occasions. Here we go again with the condo. And each time, McMahon assured her that he would find the right position for her at WWE. So, several weeks. What's several weeks? 2-3 weeks? A month? And all of this time, several times, I guess, several occasions. How many several occasions? 4, 5? Each time she was invited to his condo, she went. I'm not judging her for that. I'm just pointing out that's the fact here. These meetings were not in any sort of corporate or business setting. Number 66. For each meeting with McMahon, Ms. Grant brought sample job descriptions she found online to review with him and demonstrate the types of roles she might fit in. Yeah, I should probably not say what comes to mind when I read that statement. McMahon listened to Grant, asked her questions, and pointed out qualities that he described as rare gifts, including her goodness, vivaciousness, childlike innocence, and ability to be vulnerable, all things that made her an easy target. McMahon also initiated long physical embraces with Ms. Grant, repeatedly telling her that he trusted her, that he could be himself around her, and how he'd opened his home to her. Oh boy. Number 67. During one visit to the condo in late April 2019, McMahon did not greet Ms. Grant when she entered, but instead called her to his master walk-in closet. Oh, that never ends well. As soon as she turned the corner, McMahon emerged from his bathroom wearing only briefs. Oh my God. Shocked, Ms. Grant turned around and apologized, as McMahon laughed and asked her to turn around. He then handed her a shirt and asked for help with the buttons. McMahon reminded her that he was working hard on her role and said he felt good about her taking care of him. Okay, That's crossing the line. It was crossing the line before, but did she not feel like she could step back from him? Like when he would move in to give her a hug, could she not step back and put her hands up and say that that makes her uncomfortable? Or was he that intimidating that she just felt she shouldn't do that? And if that's the case, if she felt intimidated, like she couldn't express that she was uncomfortable in those situations, then why did she keep going back? Could she have said, I would love to continue these meetings and these conversations with you, but I would feel more comfortable if we could have these meetings in a corporate setting? It seems to me that there were other options for Ms. Grant other than to keep on walking down the path she was on. I also think that by this point, it had to have been clear what was going on here. All right, number 68. Around that time, McMahon also told Ms. Grant that he would never forget how helpless she looked when they first met, that he wanted to wrap his arms around her and assured her that everything is going to be okay, and that Ms. Grant's problems were in the past. McMahon also told Ms. Grant that he viewed her as a true friend. Number 69. However, McMahon advised Ms. Grant that people at WWE could never know about their closeness, or else rumors would spawn and threaten them, particularly due to Ms. Grant's physical beauty. Well, she is pretty. McMahon also emphasized that the circumstances could jeopardize the company. Around this time, he mentioned that he had an attorney on speed dial whom he described as the best of the best at making problems, including people who become problems, go away. Oh my God. Okay, I get that when you're in the moment, it isn't as easy to see things clearly. And it's different sitting here at home, looking at this as a casual observer. But this would literally scare the shit out of me. This is clearly a threat. And I'm fairly certain I know exactly what he means by making people go away. And it doesn't mean simply signing an NDA. And the hugs and the promises intermingled with these threats is unequivocally tantamount to mental and emotional abuse. Shame on you, Vince. You freaking have granddaughters who love you, you pig. Would you want someone to treat them the way you treat women? Your father built the foundation of a global empire for your family, and you literally shit all over it. And this attorney, I'm going to guess, is likely Jerry McDevitt. He retired last year, I think it was, but this was back in 2019. So McDevitt is my guess for this attorney. If you think I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. Number 70. On April 21st, 2019, McMahon unexpectedly invited Ms. Grant to his condo to provide her with an update. Again, she's going to his condo. Couldn't he have just given her the update over the phone when he called to invite her to his condo? And why didn't she ask him to just tell her on the phone? Maybe she wanted to go. Upon her arrival, McMahon assured Ms. Grant that he was a man of his word and that his office would be in touch with her soon with the right role. As she turned to leave, McMahon grabbed a large black electric massager. And told Ms. Grant to turn around for a demonstration. He quickly moved to rubbing his hands on Ms. Grant's upper back before reminding her that she would hear from his office about next steps in a day or two. She keeps going to his condo. How many times is this now? And it gets creepier each time, McMahon tiptoeing across those boundaries. I understand that this is outlining the alleged grooming and McMahon's predatory behavior. The tricky part is, you could also argue that's the way relationships naturally progress. You know, a hug at the end of the first few dates, sharing personal stories, and maybe eventually a quick shoulder rub, etc. and so on. The difference being, of course, whether or not these interactions are consensual on both sides. And so far, I don't see anything here stating that Ms. Grant was uncomfortable with any of this. No apprehensiveness on her part. Instead, I see words describing her as enthusiastic and hopeful. Number 71. 2 days later, Ms. Grant was contacted about further meetings at WWE, and a week later she met with 2 high-ranking human resources employees, referred to herein as Human Resources Employee Number 1 and Human Resources Employee Number 2, respectively. Both Human Resources employees number 1 and 2 provided Ms. Grant with their impressions about company culture at WWE and confirmed that the ball was in their court to figure out where she would best fit in at WWE. So now we have more people involved here, two Human Resources employees. And they're the ones who claimed that they had the ball in their court as far as where Ms. Grant would be placed in a WWE. Okay, making a little note to add them to the list. Number 72, on May 5th, 2019, Ms. Grant visited McMahon's condo again. And this time the topic of bucket lists came up, during which Ms. Grant expressed that she always dreamed of attending the Belmont Stakes. Oh boy. And McMahon responded that he would personally acquire 2 tickets for her, which Ms. Grant said she could not accept. There you go. Yay! Finally something of Ms. Grant saying, no thank you, this isn't appropriate, I couldn't possibly, this is too much. Finally something. Number 73. McMahon then stood up from his chair and knelt in front of the chair where Ms. Grant was seated, blocking her from standing. He leaned close to Ms. Grant and told her to kiss him. Oh my God. No! Ms. Grant paused and she gave McMahon a kiss on the cheek. She didn't say, no, I'm gonna go, I'm uncomfortable. She paused and gave him a kiss on the cheek, to which McMahon sighed and said, that's not what I meant. Number 74. After McMahon walked off to his bedroom. Wait, okay, so on May 5th, she went to the condo again. Why was she there again? Like, what was the reason this time for her going there? And this is when the topic of bucket lists came up. She says she wanted to go to Belmont Stakes. He says he'd get tickets. She says she couldn't accept it. The awkward kiss happens. Oh, okay, then it continues at number 74. Sorry, I got lost for a second there. After McMahon walked off to his bedroom and said that he wanted Ms. Grant, she swiftly rejected his advances and tried to reason with him that he was putting her in a bad position. Ms. Grant pled with McMahon to stop and think about what he was doing. Okay, so this is the first time, after how many times she went to his condo, that she's speaking up and saying no. I don't know, I have problems with that. But at least now she's speaking up and telling him to stop and think about what he's doing. So that should be the end of his advances, right? No means no. But what happened next? Number 75. McMahon then begged repeatedly simply to hold Ms. Grant. Oh, isn't that how it goes? We can just hold each other. Number 76. Out of fear for her employment and his earlier implied threats about his legal team dealing with problems, Ms. Grant lay down in bed next to McMahon and kept her hands clasped and ankles crossed as she acquiesced in saying that he could only hold her but nothing more. Oh, good Lord, so now she's concerned about the implied threats, and yet, after Vince made those threats, she still went back to his condo several times. Now she's worried about how Vince's legal team would deal with problems? Why would she be worried that she's even a problem at this point? She could have walked away. What problem would she have been? And fearing for her employment? To me, that's not a valid reason because I seriously doubt this was her only option. She's a pretty girl. Any place would have hired her. No, I think she felt that getting this particular job was worth these creepy encounters with Vince. Did it eventually get out of hand? Probably, but so far from what I'm reading in this lawsuit, I get the impression that Ms. Grant knew exactly what she was doing. She wanted this job, and she was willing to put herself in uncomfortable situations to get it. That may be an unpopular opinion, but I can't pretend that I don't see it. It's right here in black and white. Vince keeps making advances, and she keeps going right along with it. Number 77. When Ms. Grant tried to make small talk about WWE's TV storylines. Wait, is this when they're laying in bed? And she's trying to make small talk about WWE's TV storylines. And then McMahon suggested she watch the next episode of Monday Night Raw and text him before the broadcast. After she agreed, he forcibly kissed her and began pulling down a strap on her sweater. Ms. Grant then sat up, said she needed to leave and had a lot to process, and left. Well, okay, so she left. He didn't force her to stay. He didn't block the door. She left. There, that could have been the end of it, but I'm guessing she still went back. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here today. Also, her saying she had a lot to process kind of gives the impression that she wanted time to consider whether or not she wanted to continue with these interactions. What I don't see here is her telling Vince that he's crossing a line. Number 78. The next day, Ms. Grant watched the show as promised, the show being Monday Night Raw, and texted McMahon to wish him well. See, this is my biggest problem with all of this. Every time Vince crosses a line, she continues the meetings with him. She left his condo under what she wants us to believe were extremely uncomfortable circumstances, and then the very next day, she's texting him instead of ghosting him. This says she was shocked when he appeared on the show and texted back in the middle of the live broadcast, quote, "That was a very nice message, smiley face. Made me smile, smiley face, smiley face." The lines are blurring here. A really good defense lawyer could argue that Vince is a lonely old man who was hoping for companionship, who maybe didn't approach the situation properly, and that Ms. Grant appears to have led McMahon on by continuing to agree to see him. To be clear, I am not saying I believe that's what happened. I'm just trying to look at this from different perspectives, is all I'm saying. Number 79. On May 9th, 2019, McMahon texted Ms. Grant that she will have a job at WWE by that Friday. Okay, so if they first met in March, the end of March, then this would be about a month and a half since they first met, and he promises that she'll have a job by that Friday. Number 80. The next day, Human Resources employee number 2 called Ms. Grant to inform her that WWE Corporate Officer number 4, who is one of the non-parties named in this lawsuit, and that he or she would contact Ms. Grant at 4:00 p.m. to discuss a legal role. Number 81. After her call with WWE Corporate Officer number 4, Ms. Grant sent McMahon a thumbs-up text message to indicate the call went well. So again, she's reaching out to him unprompted. Is that relevant here? I think so. This goes on to say around 7:00 p.m., WWE Corporate Officer number 4 unexpectedly called her a second time and formally offered her a job, saying, "Welcome to WWE." Are they trying to claim here that it's because she sent McMahon the thumbs-up text that then she got the call back offering her the job? Number 82. On May 11th, 2019, McMahon invited Ms. Grant to his condo again and again asked her to lay in bed with him before informing her that he had ordered WWE Corporate Officer number 4 to offer her the job, even though a job description had not been firmed up beyond a high-level summary. What does that even mean? That the job didn't exist other than on paper? Alright, so he forcibly kissed her the last time she was at his condo, and she told him this was too much and that she had a lot to process, and left because she was, fearful for her employment. Well, now she was formally offered the job, and she went again to his condo, and again is laying in bed with him. Why would she go back? I can't figure that out, unless it was a worthwhile trade-off for her. Because at this point, when she got that call formally offering her the job, saying, "Welcome to WWE," she was an employee. And as an employee, now she would have been protected under the Speak Out Act, which is even cited in this lawsuit. Number 83. While incredibly excited, so she's incredibly excited to finally receive long-awaited employment and financial security. It says Ms. Grant expressed to McMahon that there seemed to be a conflict between his doing this and his warning to Ms. Grant that no one could know about their closeness. Okay, so now she's referring to it as closeness. See, This makes me feel weird. And not for the reasons that it should, if that makes any sense. It says that McMahon appeared amused with this, with her saying that there was a conflict between doing this and his warning that no one could know about their closeness. And he replied, quote, "It's my company." Then McMahon undresses. He undressed down to his briefs, while Ms. Grant remained clothed. See, why at that point wasn't she like, "Whoa, I didn't sign up for this"? Anyway, they're laying in bed again. McMahon is in his briefs, while Ms. Grant remained clothed. McMahon began kissing Ms. Grant and inserting his hands into her pants without consent. Well, okay. But did she say no, or did she just say nothing? And I'm not saying it's okay that Vince did this, but she is laying in bed with him, and not for the first time. And she's kissing him, he's kissing her. However you want to phrase it, they're kissing. So did she say no? Did she say stop? Or did she just say nothing? Number 84. On May 16th, 2019, McMahon informed Ms. Grant that he had obtained 2 tickets to the Belmont Stakes. Okay. And that was scheduled for June 8th, 2019. Wow. Looks like she's going to the Belmont Stakes. Bucket list wish granted. And at that point, did she tell him, "I told you no, I told you that was too much, I told you I can't accept that. This is going too far. This is more than I'm interested in"? Did she say anything of that nature? Or did they go to the Belmont Stakes on June 8th? I guess we'll find out, won't we? Number 85. On May 17th, 2019, Ms. Grant received an offer letter from WWE for an entry-level job as, quote, legal administrator coordinator with a salary of $75,000. Not bad. Number 86. On May 18th, 2019, McMahon summoned Ms. Grant. The wording in this is something else. McMahon summoned Ms. Grant to his condo again. This has to be the 10th time, at least, that she's going to his condo. And she brought a printed copy of the offer letter to review with him. McMahon informed Ms. Grant that her new boss, a WWE employee who worked in risk and government relations, referred to herein as WWE employee number 1. Ooh, gotta make a note of that. And this person was a decades-long family friend and confidant, similar in age to McMahon, and one of a small original group, what McMahon called the Titan family, who helped the WWE expand from a regional promotion to a global juggernaut. Well, holy shit, everyone share in the comments who you think WWE employee number 1 might be. And we go on to the next page, number 87. McMahon stated that outside of his attorney, who, when was this? 2019. So, again, I think this attorney is Jerry McDevitt. Let me know what you think in the comments. It says outside of his attorney that WWE employee number 1 was the most feared figure in the company because WWE employee number 1 usually fired employees. Beyond that, he offered little detail about WWE employee number 1's role at WWE. Instead, he focused on WWE employee number 1's personal traumas, explaining that similar to Ms. Grant, number 1 has no family left after number 1's spouse passed away, and that the McMahons and WWE were number 1's surrogate family. Well, painting quite a picture of who this probably is. McMahon touted number 1's loyalty, saying that number 1 would be able to protect Ms. Grant, and then led her to his bedroom again while giving her the command of, "Please don't stop this." That's almost funny, a command that starts with the words, "please don't." And this is the 3rd time now that she's going to the bedroom with him. I just want to say, I read the Epstein documents that were released recently. It was like 2,000 pages, and I read every page. That story barely broke the news. People were talking about it, sure, but it was always, so what that so-and-so is named in the documents? They're not accused of any wrongdoing. And I'm watching this story unfold in the news and I'm thinking, isn't being named in these documents enough of an allegation of wrongdoing? Those Epstein documents were pretty bad. They were very graphic. They were a lot worse than anything I'm reading in this McMahon lawsuit. So far, maybe it gets worse, but I just wanted to put that out there as a comparison. I find it interesting, to say the least, that this story is being pushed so hard. It reminds me of the way they pushed the Benoit headlines, but that's another story. Number 88. During the May 18th, 2019 encounter, Ms. Grant felt coerced into engaging in sexual activity. Why did she feel coerced? Because she got the job? Now she feels like she owes him? I'm so confused. It says here McMahon had trapped her in an impossible situation as she feared adverse career and personal consequences and legal retaliation if she declined his advances. Honey, that's not how this world works, dear. No. McMahon stated, "This is what I have been waiting for." Oh gosh, as he performed oral on Ms. Grant. Jeez. Ms. Grant asked that protection be used. Whoa, so is this implying they did the deed then? Because why would you need protection for oral sex? Or is that a thing now? So she asks for protection, and McMahon responded that there was no need to worry because he was clean. Oh, that's not the point. Number 89. Feeling that she was being used for his gratification, Ms. Grant went numb and was unable to make eye contact. McMahon then flipped on his back and said, quote, "Okay, jack 'em off." Oh my God. Number 90. Disturbed by the non-consensual sexual encounter. Whoa. Hold on now. Wait a minute. Again, she's claiming this is non-consensual, but where's the part that explains how she said no? Did she explicitly tell him no? He cannot read her mind, and she keeps going to his condo and getting in bed with him. Is it really a thing now where the woman has to literally say that she consents? Otherwise, it's assault. Is that where we're at as a society? And if so, then honestly, what the hell? This goes on to say that she hoped that McMahon would cease his advances. Did you ask him to stop? Did you tell him to stop? Or did you just hope? This says his advances continued and left her to fulfill his demands or lose her job. My goodness, I don't know. I don't know what to think or to say at this point. This is fucked up. Number 91. On June 16th, 2019, the day before starting with WWE. So what? This is a month later now. It says up here at number 88, during the May 18th, 2019 encounter, that's when they first did the deed. And then a month later, June 16th, was the day before she started with WWE. So during that month, were they getting it on? Let's see. This says Ms. Grant attempted to shut down any further physical contact or sexual encounters by admitting to McMahon her unhappiness and concern starting her first ever job. Hold the fuck on a second. This is her first ever job? Ever? Like ever? Hold up, time out. How old is this girl? So I found this information by doing a quick Google search, and according to newsunzip.com, Janelle Grant was born in 1980, so she's 43 years old. I was actually surprised she is only 3 years younger than I am. I was assuming she's in her 20s, young, naive, but at 43, or I guess in 2019 she would have been 39, but still 39, and this was her first ever job? And I haven't fact-checked this, but this website also says she has a journalism degree from freaking Yale University. So how this girl could be so worried about finding other employment is beyond me. This website also says Ms. Grant was interested in sports and entertainment, and that she dreamed of working for a major media company. So, make of that what you will. So, getting back to the lawsuit, now it's June 2019, day before starting her first ever job, and now Ms. Grant is attempting to shut down any further physical contact or sexual encounters by now admitting to McMahon. Interesting word, admitting, implies prior deceit. But now she's admitting her unhappiness and concern at starting what is, again, her first ever job at 39 years old. In his legal department, no less. While in a physical relationship, again, the word relationship, with the chairman and CEO. She requested that they end any physical relationship while remaining friends to avoid any risks to either of them. Good girl. That's what you should have said a while ago. So now nearly 3 months after first meeting, and the day before starting with WWE, Ms. Grant is officially requesting, as it is worded in the lawsuit, that they end the physical relationship, but they should still be friends. And why did she want the physical relationship to end? Because she was concerned about starting her first ever job while in a relationship with the chairman and CEO. That's the reason she gives. I'm interested to know how many times did she have sexual encounters at his condo between the May 18th encounter and June 16th before she started the job. Let's see what happens. Number 92. McMahon refused, saying that it was not ending, it did not need to, and that he did not ever envision it ending. Okay, that's a bit much. He reminded her that he trusted her, reiterated that rumors would lead to trouble, probed whether her silence would be an issue, and brushed off her concerns that she was struggling with the feeling that her job felt unearned. And McMahon told Ms. Grant that all she needed to do was not tell anyone, and that it just has to look legit. Kind of makes me wonder how many people working at these corporations are just there making it look legit. Number 93. McMahon then spun the conversation and told Ms. Grant to focus on the positives and embrace that her life was about to change, saying, "Isn't that what you've always wanted?" Oh, you manipulative son of a bitch. This says, McMahon manipulatively emphasized that she's about to start an adventure and gain a new family with WWE as a surrogate for the family that she had lost. Oh my freaking God. Now Vince is really starting to piss me off. See, this is when she should slap his ugly face and tell him to get fucked. Let's see what happens next. Number 94. Ultimately, Ms. Grant's unsuccessful attempt to end further unwanted physical contact quickly taught her that her view on the matter was not relevant. Okay. And looks like that's the end to this section, so I'm going to stop here. The next video will pick up where the lawsuit continues, as you can see here with subsection C. Ms. Grant's WWE career commences, minimal work, and an absent boss. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and hit that bell so you are notified when the next video drops. Due to the content, this video will probably not be eligible for monetization. If you'd like to support the channel, you can send $1 my way at the Cash App link in the description box below. This is AmKay at Purple Sky 11. As always, thank you for your time and listening to what I have to say, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye!